Hey there, sleepyheads. Welcome back to the channel. Before we drift into tonight's tale of the mythology of Finn's dreams, I'd love to know where in the world you are watching from tonight and what time it is for you right now. Drop it in the comments below. It's always magical seeing how far and wide this sleepy little community reaches. All right, lights low, blankets up, let's begin. Tonight we are going to wander softly into the quiet spaces of Finn's mind, through the gentle currents of dreams that ripple across the world of Ooh. Dreams, in their most delicate form, are whispers of the unseen, glimpses into corners of reality that are ordinarily hidden from our waking eyes. In Finn's case, these nocturnal journeys are not mere fantasies. They are small windows into the intricate, sometimes mysterious, inner landscape of a world still healing from the echoes of cataclysm. As we step carefully into this landscape, imagine the soft hush of night around you, the way the air feels almost suspended, holding its breath as if listening for the faintest rustle of magic. Even from the earliest episodes, we see that Finn's dreams are strange, bending, and fluid, as if time itself has loosened its rigid edges. The shapes in his dreams often carry a weight, a soft resonance that hints at deeper truths. Sometimes they are playful, almost whimsical. Floating islands, endless forests with soft green canopies that sway to a rhythm we cannot quite hear. Other times they are unsettling, whispering of loss, of shadowed presences just beyond the light, of histories that the waking world has almost forgotten. These dreams, though fleeting, seem to carry the echoes of Ooh's secret pulse, a rhythm that exists quietly beneath the chaos and color of the waking day. Imagine for a moment the dream as a gentle river, flowing lazily through the landscapes of Finn's mind. The current is slow, almost imperceptible, and yet it carries with it fragments of memory, of emotion, of something vast and unseen. When Finn sleeps, he drifts along this current, passing familiar shores that look like the Candy Kingdom or the Fire Kingdom, but always slightly altered, softened, and glimmering with an otherworldly light. Sometimes a castle tilts just enough to feel precarious. Sometimes a familiar face appears in a silhouette, fading before he can reach it. The river does not rush, and it does not demand. It simply allows him to float, to witness, to wander through realms that exist between what we understand as real and imagine. There is a gentle, almost sacred rhythm to these dreams. The soft rustle of leaves, the quiet murmur of distant rivers, the faint glow of stars suspended low over the horizon. All of these details are more than scenery. They are whispers from Ooh itself, subtle signals that the world carries a memory, a consciousness, a quiet longing that extends far beyond the adventures of daytime. Even the smallest sounds in Finn's dreams, the echo of a word, the soft patter of unseen footsteps, the sigh of the wind through endless trees, seem to convey the kind of knowledge that cannot be spoken in waking hours. It is a language of subtle hints and lingering sensations, and Finn, in his sleep, becomes its gentle listener. Early in the series, we glimpse how these dreams operate, almost like a map of Finn's internal world. They are not static. Each night brings new passages, new connections. Sometimes they lead him to confront fears he barely understands. Sometimes they reveal desires he has not yet fully formed. Often, the dreamscape is a mirror, reflecting aspects of himself he has not yet discovered. And yet, it is never harsh. Even in the darker moments, there is a softness, a quiet patience, as though the world of dreams itself is guiding him without judgment. The dream does not demand understanding, it merely offers experience. When we look closely at these sequences, it becomes clear that Finn's dreams carry the subtle weight of Ooh's post-apocalyptic past. In the night, when the stars hang low and the air is thick with the magic of quiet possibility, fragments of history ripple through the dreamscapes. Shadows of battles long ended, of civilizations fallen, drift like faint smoke across the edges of forests and fields. Yet these are not nightmares in the conventional sense. They are more like echoes, gentle reminders that the world is layered, that every laugh, every tear, every song sung by the rivers or carried by the winds leaves a trace. Finn, in sleep, moves through these layers as if brushing fingertips across an invisible tapestry, sensing the contours and textures of things both remembered and forgotten. Even the simplest dreams can hold profound significance. A floating lantern drifting over a midnight sea, a soft whisper carried by the breeze, the fleeting image of a friend smiling in the distance. All are threads in the quiet architecture of the subconscious. Finn's experiences in these dream worlds are deeply personal, yet they also resonate with the wider life of Ooh. The dreams seem to hint that the world itself possesses a kind of sentience, or at the very least, a memory. Perhaps the forests and rivers, the mountains and skies are not simply landscapes, but living repositories of everything that has happened and everything that might yet unfold. Finn's journey through sleep becomes, in this sense, a subtle pilgrimage across the hidden heart of Ooh. There is also a peculiar elasticity to time within these dreams. Minutes stretch, compress, fold back upon themselves. One moment Finn may be wandering a sunlit meadow, and in the next he drifts through a night sky streaked with colors he has never seen in waking life. These shifts are never abrupt, never jarring. They are gentle, like the soft sway of a hammock in a quiet breeze. And in this liminal space, Finn encounters versions of himself that are both familiar and strange. Sometimes he sees a younger self, naive and eager. Sometimes an older self, thoughtful and weary. And sometimes he glimpses a self that seems entirely other, shaped by forces he does not yet understand. As Finn drifts deeper into his dreams, the landscapes begin to take on a more symbolic quality, though always gently, never forcefully. Mountains bend and stretch, rivers flow backward, and the sky sometimes seems to pulse with quiet awareness, as though the very world is breathing along with him. These shifts are not chaotic. They are deliberate, soft undulations that mirror the rhythms of thought and feeling, the quiet stirrings of emotion and memory that accumulate in the mind over time. The landscapes of his dreams are, in a way, a reflection of Ooh itself. Vibrant, magical, and yet faintly scarred, carrying traces of the past and whispers of the possible futures that lie just beyond reach. One of the most fascinating aspects of Finn's dreams is how they weave together fragments of his waking experiences with the strange and the impossible. A stroll through a candy-colored meadow may seamlessly merge with a shadowed memory of the Ice King, or a soft lullaby may float through a sky filled with twisting constellations that have no names. These juxtapositions create a feeling of gentle dissonance, like the world has layered itself in multiple dimensions, each one humming quietly alongside the other. Finn moves through these layers with a kind of instinctive curiosity, drawn forward by the subtle lure of wonder rather than fear, and yet there is always a soft undercurrent of questions he cannot fully articulate. At times, the dream world seems to open into entirely new realms, untouched by his waking experiences. Islands float across endless oceans of violet and silver, and the air itself seems to shimmer with latent magic, carrying the scent of flowers that have never existed in the waking world. In these moments, the dreams feel less like personal imagining and more like invitations into the very soul of Ooh. It is as if the world itself is speaking through the medium of sleep, offering visions that are both deeply personal and inherently cosmic. Finn is never forced to understand these visions. Instead, he drifts alongside them, a gentle observer, absorbing their quiet lessons, their strange beauty, and the soft hum of histories that cannot be entirely spoken. Even the darker elements of these dreams are tempered by a sense of care, a hushed intention to guide rather than alarm. Shadows sometimes stretch long across empty landscapes. Whispers echo from places just out of sight, and figures drift past in half-glimpses. But even here, there is no sudden terror, no harshness of the kind that jars the spirit awake. The dream maintains a calm balance, allowing Finn to experience tension and uncertainty, as if testing the edges of understanding. It is a soft exploration of courage, a gentle confrontation with the unknown, where each step taken in sleep is a step toward awareness rather than panic. The recurring appearance of familiar figures in Finn's dreams is particularly striking. Friends and mentors, past acquaintances, and even enigmatic strangers all appear in forms that are both recognizable and subtly altered. Princess Bubblegum may emerge with a slightly different hue in her hair. Jake might stretch into shapes more abstract than possible. And the Ice King often drifts in as a distant, softened echo of his waking self. These variations suggest that the dream is not merely replaying memories, but actively interpreting and reshaping them, blending them with emotions, fears, and hopes, to create an experience that is unique to Finn's inner mind. It is as though the dream is a painter, and Finn's consciousness is both canvas and brush, contributing to the unfolding tapestry with each movement of thought. Another intriguing quality of these landscapes is the way in which they seem to respond to Finn's emotions, subtly shifting in color, texture, and form as he moves through them. A moment of quiet reflection might cause the sky to deepen into soft indigo, scattered with glowing stars that pulse gently with an unspoken rhythm. A pang of loneliness may tilt the horizon, causing forests and rivers to lean toward a vanishing point just out of reach. Even fleeting curiosity can ripple through the dream world, altering the flow of rivers, the arc of clouds, or the glow of distant lights. These small responses create an intimate dialogue between the dream and the dreamer, a quiet co-creation that is as much about understanding oneself as it is about exploring the world beyond the waking mind. Perhaps most quietly remarkable is the sense of timelessness that permeates Finn's dreams. The boundaries between past, present, and future blur softly, as though Oo itself has folded time inward, allowing glimpses of memories, possibilities, and imagined realities to coexist. He might find himself wandering the ruins of a city long gone, then drift seamlessly into a meadow bathed in the golden light of a world yet to come. There is no rush, no urgency. The dream encourages a patient observation, inviting Finn to linger, to notice the subtle changes in light and shadow, to feel the gentle sway of magical currents flowing beneath the surface of reality. In this way, the dream is a meditation, a quiet passage through the deep veins of experience that run beneath both Oo and Finn himself. As Finn drifts ever further into the gentle ebb of his dreams, certain patterns begin to emerge, recurring images that seem to hold a quiet significance beyond their immediate appearance. A floating sword here, a glimmering river there, or the distant silhouette of a castle perched impossibly upon shifting clouds. These motifs are like soft threads woven throughout his subconscious, connecting dreams across nights, sometimes even months apart. They are subtle echoes of Oo's hidden structure, hints that the world itself has a memory, and that the dreams of those who inhabit it carry fragments of that memory forward, softly preserving knowledge that is often invisible in waking life. Take, for instance, the recurring appearance of ancient ruins in Finn's dreams. Often these ruins are half buried beneath grass that shimmers with a faint golden light, or their stones hum quietly when touched. In the waking world, Oo is scattered with remnants of its post-apocalyptic history, hints of wars long ended, cities long forgotten. In dreams, however, these ruins take on a softer, more contemplative quality. They do not intimidate. They do not demand attention. Instead, they whisper stories, inviting Finn to move gently through them, to notice the delicate carvings on stone walls, the faint echoes of laughter or song that cling to the air, and the subtle ways in which magic has seeped into the very bones of the world. Through these quiet encounters, his dreams become a form of exploration, not of danger or conflict, but of understanding, patience, and the slow unfolding of hidden truths. Another motif that appears with gentle frequency is the presence of shifting skies and unusual celestial formations. Stars sometimes stretch into luminous ribbons that ripple across the horizon, or cluster into shapes that suggest faces or symbols he cannot quite name. Moons may rise and fall in impossible patterns, casting soft light that refracts through clouds tinged with colors that do not exist in the waking world. These skies, like the landscapes themselves, seem to respond to emotion and thought, reflecting Finn's inner state while also guiding him softly through the dream. It is as if the heavens themselves are participating in his journey, offering cues and insights that are too subtle for waking senses to catch. Animals, both ordinary and extraordinary, also drift through these dreamscapes. Birds with wings like sheets of glowing crystal, foxes that shimmer with shifting patterns of light, and even familiar companions like Jake appear in shapes that bend the eye, behaving with a fluidity that seems impossible, yet utterly natural. Each creature, each softly moving presence, seems to carry with it a gentle lesson or a quiet truth, though Finn is rarely aware of it in the moment. He simply notices their movements, their sounds, the way they interact with the environment around him, and he absorbs their presence as if it were a soft melody playing in the background of consciousness. Sometimes Finn's dreams fold memories and imaginings into one another so seamlessly that it becomes difficult to discern where one ends and the other begins. He may encounter a scene reminiscent of a past adventure, a volcano softly smoking, or a candy-colored tower, but the details are altered in ways that feel like reflection rather than fabrication. Colors shimmer with heightened intensity. Shapes bend slightly. Sounds resonate with a faint echo of magic. These gentle distortions create a dream world that is intimately familiar and yet profoundly strange, offering him the quiet thrill of recognition alongside the soft curiosity of discovery. Each detail is deliberate in its subtlety, encouraging observation rather than action, reflection rather than reaction. One particularly quiet but powerful motif is the appearance of voices, often faint, often overlapping with wind or water. They are rarely fully coherent. Fragments of conversations or songs, whispers that drift across a meadow or over a lake. These voices carry weight in a way that is difficult to quantify. They are like fragments of memory, traces of events and emotions that exist just beyond the threshold of awareness. Sometimes they echo words spoken long ago. Sometimes they hint at wisdom that has yet to crystallize. And occasionally, they seem to convey something entirely unknown, messages from the deeper, hidden layers of Oo itself. Finn, in the safety of sleep, listens and moves gently among them, absorbing the nuances without urgency, as though he knows in some unspoken way that understanding will come in its own time. Another fascinating aspect is how physical spaces in the dreams subtly mirror emotional landscapes. A vast, open field may stretch infinitely when Finn feels unburdened or free, yet fold in upon itself in gentle loops when he is uncertain or contemplative. Rivers may slow to a calm shimmer or run with soft turbulence, echoing feelings of doubt, excitement, or quiet yearning. Even light and shadow carry emotional resonance. Soft morning glows signify comfort and reassurance, while the dimming of twilight may suggest introspection or the approaching unknown. Through these subtle correspondences, the dreams teach a quiet lesson, that the world, whether waking or imagined, is intertwined with perception, and that every shift in feeling is a ripple in the ever-changing currents of experience. In all these ways, Finn's dreams create a vast, interwoven tapestry, a landscape that is at once personal and cosmic. Each recurring symbol, each gently shifting scene, each whisper of wind or ripple of light, contributes to a map of Uu that exists only in sleep. It is a map that cannot be read with eyes alone, but must be felt, drifted through, and absorbed over time. And as Finn floats quietly through these dreamscapes, he becomes not just a dreamer, but a gentle explorer, moving softly through the hidden heart of a world that is alive with memory, emotion, and magic. As Finn continues to wander through these dreamscapes, there emerges an almost imperceptible sense that these nights of slumber are more than fleeting experiences. They are quiet journeys through the hidden architecture of Uu itself. Every forest he crosses, every softly glowing river, every distant mountain bathed in impossible twilight seems to hold a memory, a secret tucked away beneath the surface of what the waking world allows. It is as though, in the calm of sleep, Finn has access to a language that is usually silent, a gentle conversation with the world that surrounds him and with the deeper currents of history, magic, and emotion that run beneath its surface. One of the most striking qualities of these dreams is the soft layering of time. Moments from the past often drift into visions of places he has never seen, and even hints of the future occasionally shimmer along the edges of his perception. A ruined castle may stand in the same field where a candy-colored carnival is unfolding, the two images folding into each other with an almost musical harmony. Even figures from the past, Simon Petrikov, the young Marceline, or long-forgotten inhabitants of Uu, can appear as echoes, watching from a distance, their movements slowed, their presence gentle. It is not fear that accompanies these encounters, but an awareness of something vast and ongoing, an almost meditative understanding that the world carries forward every action, every thought, and every small choice, layering them gently into the fabric of existence. The fluidity of time in dreams also allows Finn to perceive the consequences of actions in a soft, non-linear way. He might witness a tree falling in one dream, and in another, long after waking, see the gentle reshaping of the landscape where that tree once stood. Rivers may be dry in one vision, yet in another, flowing thick and sparkling with starlight. These shifts are never sudden or jarring. Instead, they move slowly, like clouds rolling across the horizon, offering him a quiet lesson in the interconnectedness of events, the continuity of magic, and the persistence of life in its many forms. Sleep becomes a space where observation replaces action, reflection replaces reaction, and curiosity becomes a gentle guide. Perhaps most compelling is the subtle suggestion that dreams serve as portals to knowledge that cannot be accessed in waking life. In these moments, Uu feels alive in a way that is almost sacred. Rivers, forests, and skies are not merely scenery. They are repositories of memory, holding the accumulated magic and emotion of countless generations. A whispering breeze, a glimmering path, or a softly shifting constellation may hint at truths that Finn has yet to grasp consciously. His dreams, then, are more than stories. They are quiet dialogues with the very soul of the world, invitations to explore, to understand, and to sense the layers of history, magic, and feeling that coexist around him. And yet even within the sense of vastness and depth, the dreams maintain a gentle intimacy. Finn's own presence matters. His choices, even in sleep, shape the flow of events. A moment of hesitation can cause a path to bend differently. A gesture of courage might brighten the light in a distant sky. The dream is not a passive canvas. It responds, it listens, it hums in resonance with his consciousness. There is a slow reciprocity here, a soft teaching, that even in the unseen consequences and subtle interactions weave the world together. Finn, the dreamer, becomes both participant and observer, a quiet pilgrim drifting through the delicate structure of reality. Even the darker elements of the dreams are infused with this gentle balance. Shadows stretch along the edges of forests. Soft echoes of distant voices ripple across the air, and sometimes unfamiliar figures pass by in half glimpses. These moments of uncertainty do not demand fear. They invite reflection, curiosity, and patience. Finn moves through them with care, not as one who is hunted, but as one who is learning, listening, and growing. Each encounter, each shift in the landscape, each whispered message is a soft brushstroke on the canvas of his understanding, building a quiet, cumulative knowledge of the world and his place within it. It is here, in the weaving of memory, emotion, and magic, that the landscape of Finn's dreams becomes more than a personal reflection. It is a window into the hidden metaphysics of itself. The post-apocalyptic past, the lingering magic, the unseen threads of history and emotion, all are present, subtly guiding, shaping, and informing. Dreams are the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between what is known and what is sensed, between the world of action and the world of quiet observation. They are, in a way, Oo's whispered stories to those willing to listen in the stillness of night. As Finn drifts further into sleep, one begins to notice a gentle cadence to the flow of his experiences. The rising and falling of light, the soft swell of magical energy in the landscape, and the quiet presence of beings, both familiar and unknown, all create a rhythm, a lullaby of the cosmos itself. Each detail, each subtle transformation, each whispering shadow carries its own significance. Yet nothing is forced, nothing is rushed. There is a softness, a patience, and an unspoken encouragement to linger, to observe, and to feel. In this way, the dreams teach as much about being as they do about knowing, about perceiving, and about existing within a world that is as tender as it is vast. By the end of the segment, we begin to understand that Finn's dreams are a landscape not easily mapped by waking eyes. They are a living, breathing space, shaped by memory, emotion, magic, and the quiet pulse of itself. Each night, each dream, is a gentle step along a path that stretches infinitely, inviting the dreamer to move slowly, to notice, and to absorb the quiet lessons woven into every mountain, river, and sky. And as Finn rests, drifting softly through these realms, we are reminded that sleep is not merely rest. It is exploration, reflection, and communion with the hidden heart of the world, a slow and gentle unveiling of mysteries that lie just beneath the surface of all that is seen. As we continue our journey through the quiet landscape of Finn's dreams, it becomes clear that the world he wanders is stitched together by subtle, recurring symbols. These motifs do not shout or demand attention. Instead, they linger at the edges of perception, soft beacons guiding him, through the fluid, ephemeral geography of sleep. In dreams, repetition is never mundane. Each appearance of a symbol, each gentle echo, carries with it a layer of meaning, a quiet reflection of ooze-hidden threads, and a delicate hint of the emotions or experiences that dwell in Finn's subconscious. Perhaps the most noticeable of these motifs is the presence of ancient or decaying structures. Castles, ruins, towers, and crumbling roads appear again and again, sometimes bathed in moonlight, other times veiled in mist. Yet these structures are rarely foreboding. They are calm, almost reverent spaces, as if the dream itself acknowledges the weight of history without burdening the dreamer. Stones worn smooth by time, stairways that wind gently into clouds, or bridges that span invisible chasms create a sense of both wonder and quiet introspection. In these moments, Finn is not adventuring in the conventional sense. He is wandering through the memory of the world, sensing the presence of events long past, of civilizations that have risen and fallen, and of magic that has seeped into the very bones of Uru. The dream transforms history into a gentle, tactile experience, one that can be felt rather than merely observed. Another recurring motif is the appearance of shifting skies and unusual celestial arrangements. Stars gather into unfamiliar constellations. Moons rise and fall in impossible rhythms, and clouds may ripple in slow waves as though the sky itself were breathing. These heavens are not merely decorative. They respond to Finn's inner state, reflecting his fears, joys, and uncertainties with subtle shifts in light, color, and motion. When he feels calm or content, the skies are vast and gentle, suffused with soft, warm tones and glimmering starlight. When doubt or worry stirs, the heavens may darken, or stars may twist into unfamiliar shapes, hinting at questions the waking mind cannot yet answer. The sky in his dreams is less a backdrop than a living presence, quietly conversing with him in a language of light and movement. Water also appears frequently as a symbol in Finn's dreams, from softly flowing rivers to serene lakes, reflecting impossible skies. Rivers in particular often carry dual meaning. They are both literal paths through the dreamscape and symbolic currents of emotion, memory, or time. Sometimes Finn drifts along a river that winds through landscapes of candy forests and floating islands, the water glimmering with unearthly hues. Other times, the river may split or bend in unexpected ways, suggesting choices or possibilities that exist beyond his immediate understanding. The gentle lapping of water, the reflection of stars in its surface, and the soft flow of currents all create a sense of calm rhythm, reinforcing the meditative quality of his nocturnal wanderings. Floating objects, often impossible in form or gravity, also appear as soft guides or markers. Lanterns drift slowly across twilight skies, stones hover in midair, and even familiar items, such as Finn's backpack or sword, may appear slightly altered, glowing with faint energy or shifting in shape as he observes them. These objects are more than mere decoration. They carry resonance, memory, and intention. They hint at connections between places, experiences, and emotions that Finn has not yet fully understood, forming a delicate network of meaning across nights and episodes. Each floating object is a small signpost, guiding him through a dream world where linear logic does not apply, but where significance is always present, softly waiting to be recognized. Animals and companions appear frequently as well, often in forms that are familiar yet subtly altered. Jake's transformations are exaggerated or abstract. Other creatures glow with shifting colors, and new fantastical beings appear briefly, moving in patterns that suggest both guidance and gentle challenge. These presences are not threatening. They do not chase or frighten, but rather accompany, observe, and sometimes provoke quiet reflection. They serve as reminders that Finn's experiences are intertwined with the living, breathing world of Ulu, even in sleep. The animals and companions of his dreams act as soft intermediaries between his conscious mind and the hidden rhythms of the world, carrying messages in form, movement, and presence. Light itself is a subtle yet persistent motif. Glows from lanterns, bioluminescent plants, softly radiant stones, and distant fires appear repeatedly, often guiding Finn's attention or illuminating paths just enough for him to move forward without fear. Light in his dreams is never harsh. It is gentle, refracted, and often colored with soft hues that evoke calmness and reflection. Shadows, too, are present, but rarely threatening. They stretch and bend alongside the light, creating spaces where curiosity and contemplation are encouraged, where contrast suggests questions rather than dangers, and where the dream itself maintains balance between the known and the mysterious. Even certain sounds appear as motifs, though they are felt as much as heard. The soft rustle of leaves, the gentle hum of wind through a canyon, or the quiet splash of a river carrying starlight, all recur in different forms. Sometimes a faint melody drifts across the dream, carried on invisible currents, tying separate scenes together with rhythm and resonance. These auditory motifs reinforce the feeling that the dreams are alive, responsive, and subtly instructive, teaching Finn to perceive the world not just with sight, but with the full range of sensation and awareness. As these motifs repeat across Finn's dreams, a gentle pattern begins to emerge, one that hints at the quiet language of Ulu itself. The recurring ruins, for example, are not simply remnants of a post-apocalyptic past. They are soft markers of resilience and memory. They remind Finn that even in decay there is beauty, and that every structure, every stone, carries the history of those who once walked its halls. When a tower rises, half submerged in mist, it is not to frighten, but to invite attention to the subtle layering of time and experience. In this way, the ruins are almost like whispers from the past, carrying knowledge that is neither urgent nor overwhelming, but patiently awaiting recognition. Similarly, the celestial motifs, the shifting stars and strange moons, seem to function as guides for the dreamer. They create a sense of orientation in landscapes that defy waking logic. Stars may gather into patterns that suggest paths or choices. Moons may rise and fall in rhythms that reflect Finn's emotional state. And constellations occasionally form symbols that feel almost familiar, though he cannot place them. These patterns do not impose meaning, but hint at it, allowing Finn to intuit connections rather than being told what to see. In this sense, the heavens of his dreams act as both mirror and teacher, reflecting his inner state, while softly pointing toward truths that lie just beyond the reach of conscious thought. Water in its many forms continues to carry layered significance. Rivers, lakes, and puddles all behave in subtly different ways depending on the emotional tone of the dream. A calm lake may encourage reflection, allowing Finn to see distorted reflections of familiar faces, landscapes, or past events. A rushing river might suggest change, challenge, or a gentle nudging toward growth, while small, trickling streams whisper the quiet persistence of life and memory. These currents create a rhythm within the dream, a slow and deliberate flow that mirrors the passage of thought and emotion. Finn's movement alongside them becomes a form of meditation, teaching him to navigate both external and internal worlds with patience and attentiveness. Floating objects, recurring in various forms, add a layer of magical narrative to the dreamscape. A lantern drifting through the night sky may illuminate hidden paths. A hovering stone may signal an unseen choice, and even familiar items like his backpack or sword can appear glowing or reshaped, imbued with the resonance of memory and experience. These objects are not static. They respond, shift, and interact with the dream, suggesting a soft dialogue between the dreamer and the dream. Each object is like a gentle puzzle, a clue to understanding deeper connections between places, people, and events within the ever-shifting landscape of Ooh. Animals and companions, too, carry symbolic weight beyond their presence. Jake's playful distortions, the glowing foxes, or fantastical birds that drift across skies all serve as gentle companions and guides, embodying qualities Finn may not fully recognize in himself. These beings often appear in moments of uncertainty, their movements and forms providing subtle reassurance, encouragement, or insight. The presence of these creatures in dreams reinforces a central theme, that Finn's subconscious is never isolated. Even in sleep, he moves in relation to a broader world, one in which interactions, however subtle, carry meaning and reflection. Light, in its many manifestations, continues to serve as both motif and teacher. Glowing plants, softly radiant stones, and lanterns drifting across a twilight sky create pools of illumination that highlight significance without harshness. Shadows bend alongside this light, forming gentle contrasts that encourage awareness, attention, and reflection rather than alarm. These moments of illumination guide Finn's attention, subtly emphasizing paths, objects, or experiences that may carry emotional or metaphysical resonance. Light in dreams becomes a language of perception, teaching him to notice without forcing comprehension, to observe without judgment, and to trust in the slow unfolding of insight. Even the faint sounds and melodies that drift through Finn's dreams take on symbolic resonance. A rustling of leaves may accompany the appearance of a familiar ruin. A faint splash of water may hint at an unseen current of events, and whispered voices may carry fragmented lessons or memories from the past. These auditory elements often recur across nights, forming a soft, persistent rhythm that ties disparate dreamscapes together. The repetition of sound, like the repetition of visual motifs, fosters a sense of continuity and coherence in a realm where logic and linear time bend. Finn, in listening and noticing, participates in the subtle construction of understanding, absorbing not just images, but textures, rhythms, and echoes that enrich the tapestry of his dream world. These motifs, recurring and layered, suggest that Finn's dreams are more than personal musings. They are a quiet interface with the hidden metaphysics of Ooh. Each symbol, each softly glowing element, each movement of light or water, forms part of a larger, delicate system. The dreams are maps, guides, and reflections all at once, encouraging Finn to perceive the underlying currents that connect memory, emotion, and magic. In observing them, we begin to understand that what appears whimsical or fantastical is, in fact, deeply intentional, a gentle pedagogy woven into the very fabric of sleep. As we linger further in the quiet rhythm of Finn's dreams, it becomes clear that these motifs are not isolated. They echo, overlap, and respond to one another, creating a subtle network of meaning that unfolds slowly across nights. The ancient ruins, the glowing rivers, the softly shifting skies, and the drifting lanterns all interact within the dreamscape, forming an intricate web that guides Finn through the hidden currents of Ooh. These patterns do not demand comprehension. They offer hints, nudges, and gentle illumination, allowing the dreamer to explore without fear, to reflect without pressure, and to absorb lessons that are never hurried. Emotion, more than logic, seems to shape these motifs. When Finn experiences quiet longing or subtle fear, The colors of a landscape may deepen, shadows may stretch, or rivers may bend unexpectedly. When hope or joy emerges, stars brighten, skies stretch wide, and floating objects shimmer with soft luminescence. These shifts are never dramatic, but they are persistent, creating a dialogue between the dreamer's inner life and the fabric of the dream itself. In this way, motifs serve as gentle indicators, reflections of emotion that allow Finn to understand not only the dreamscape, but also the contours of his own heart and mind. Recurring motifs also carry temporal resonance. A ruin glimpsed in one dream may reappear, transformed or illuminated differently, in a later dream, suggesting the slow passage of time, memory, or emotional growth. The floating sword, the distant castle, or the shimmering river may emerge repeatedly, each time subtly altered, as if the dream is recording progress, testing understanding, or reminding him of lessons that remain soft and half understood. These repetitions are never exact. They are variations on a theme, musical refrains in the symphony of Finn's subconscious, each carrying echoes of what has come before while gesturing toward possibilities yet to be explored. Even seemingly simple motifs, glowing stones, drifting leaves, faint ripples on a pond, possess layered significance. A stone may mark a crossroads, a leaf may trace the flow of thought, a ripple may echo an unresolved question or memory. These small, subtle symbols are woven with the same care as the grander, more dramatic motifs, and their presence emphasizes that understanding in dreams is never rushed. Finn learns to notice, to move gently, and to absorb meaning gradually, as though the world itself is offering instruction in patience and mindfulness. One of the more curious aspects of these motifs is how they blend personal experience with universal resonance. Animals and companions, for instance, often represent aspects of Finn's own psyche. Yet they also seem to carry knowledge beyond him. Jake's playful distortions may embody humor, loyalty, or adaptability, while the soft glow of a fox or bird may suggest intuition, guidance, or a quiet wisdom embedded in the natural magic of ooh. Each motif, while intimately tied to Finn's inner world, also gestures outward, connecting him to the broader rhythms and histories of the world he inhabits. It is as if the dream acknowledges both the self and the world, teaching through interaction rather than explanation. Light and shadow remain among the most potent motifs. In Finn's dreams, illumination often coincides with moments of insight, gentle courage, or quiet clarity, while shadows indicate contemplation, uncertainty, or the subtle presence of forces he cannot yet name. These elements are never menacing. Rather, they form a soft, dynamic interplay, a slow dance that encourages perception without urgency, reflection without pressure, and awareness without fear. The dream teaches not through alarm, but through calm observation, inviting Finn to notice the delicate balance that exists in every corner of his world. Water continues to carry layered resonance. Beyond simply reflecting landscapes or emotion, it often acts as a bridge between motifs. A river may flow past a ruined tower, shimmer under shifting stars, or ripple with the passage of a floating object. Lakes may mirror the sky while cradling softly glowing lanterns. Even small streams may weave through forests, connecting distant symbols in a network that feels both tangible and mystical. The flow of water, subtle and persistent, suggests the continuity of experience, the gentle movement of time, and the quiet persistence of memory, all coursing beneath the surface of ooh and Finn's mind alike. Finally, the recurrence of these symbols creates a meditative rhythm in Finn's dreams. The repeated appearance of familiar structures, animals, lights, and sounds generates a slow, hypnotic cadence that encourages calm observation, gentle curiosity, and reflective attention. The motifs themselves do not push him forward. They invite, coax, and suggest. In the quiet repetition of these symbols, there is both comfort and instruction. Comfort in familiarity, and instruction in subtlety, perception, and connection. Each motif carries a whisper of meaning, a soft suggestion of the hidden logic and metaphysics of U, and a gentle reminder that sleep is a space for quiet exploration and slow understanding. Through these recurring symbols, we begin to glimpse the architecture of Finn's subconscious, the soft framework that allows his dreams to serve as both personal reflection and metaphysical map. The motifs interlace emotion, memory, magic, and the subtle history of the world, creating a living tapestry that is at once intimate and vast. They suggest that Finn's dreams are not merely flights of fancy, but carefully structured experiences, teaching him to perceive, to listen, and to navigate both the inner and outer landscapes of his life. As we reflect further on these recurring motifs, it becomes clear that they serve a dual purpose within Finn's dreams. On one level, they guide him through landscapes that are at once familiar and strange, offering subtle cues about paths, choices, and relationships. On another, more profound level, they act as mirrors of his inner life, quietly revealing the contours of thought, emotion, and memory that shape his waking self. The repeated ruins, the flowing rivers, the softly glowing objects, and the gentle interplay of light and shadow are all part of a delicate dialogue, inviting Finn to observe, consider, and absorb, without ever demanding immediate understanding or reaction. Time, in these dream motifs, becomes malleable, stretching and folding in ways that encourage reflection. A castle, glimpsed in one night, may reappear in another dream, slightly altered in structure, color, or placement, suggesting both continuity and transformation. A river may appear calm in one dream, turbulent in another, echoing shifts in emotion, or the subtle ripple of events that span beyond the immediate moment. These gentle variations reinforce the notion that Finn's dreams are not static, but living, evolving spaces in which recurring symbols serve as soft anchors, guiding attention while leaving room for discovery and interpretation. The emotional resonance of these motifs is equally significant. A glowing lantern drifting across the night sky may bring a sense of calm reassurance, while the shadow of a distant figure might evoke quiet curiosity or introspection. The recurrence of these elements creates a rhythm, a heartbeat within the dream, that reflects the cycles of thought and feeling in Finn's inner life. In this way, motifs are more than visual cues. They are emotional instruments, tuned to the subtle frequencies of consciousness, inviting the dreamer to attune to the undercurrents of mood, memory, and meaning that pervade both dream and waking life. Animals, companions, and fantastical creatures continue to play a vital role in this symbolic network. Jake, in his dream transformations, often embodies qualities Finn is exploring or needs to confront: loyalty, adaptability, humor, or courage. Other creatures, unfamiliar yet serene, act as guides, observers, or gentle reminders that the dream world is alive and responsive. These presences encourage movement and curiosity, offering comfort, insight, or subtle challenge without ever threatening or startling. They remind Finn, and by extension us, that even in the most abstract spaces, interaction, observation, and attention carry quiet significance. Light and shadow. Recurring motifs in themselves deepen the connection between external observation and internal reflection. Light often illuminates areas of understanding, gentle truths, or paths of insight, while shadows provide spaces for contemplation, subtle mystery, and the acknowledgement of what remains unseen. The interplay of illumination and obscurity encourages Finn to develop a patient awareness, cultivating a perception that is both careful and expansive. Shadows are not barriers, but invitations, and light is not coercion, but suggestion. Together they form a subtle system of guidance, softly teaching the dreamer to perceive the nuances of both the inner and outer world. Water, too, continues its layered presence as a connector and a reflector. Rivers, lakes, and streams bind the motifs together, creating continuity and flow across landscapes that might otherwise feel disjointed. The movement of water mirrors the movement of thought, emotion, and memory, carrying reflections of stars, objects, and companions along its currents. Even small ripples or gentle splashes carry meaning, suggesting interaction, reaction, and subtle consequence. In this way, water serves as both a literal and metaphorical vehicle, carrying Finn through space and feeling, time and memory, while quietly linking the motifs into a coherent living system. Perhaps most quietly profound is the way these motifs reflect the hidden metaphysics of Oo. They suggest a world in which memory, magic, emotion, and history are not discrete, but interwoven, layered softly beneath the surface of perception. Ruins, rivers, skies, and floating objects do not merely exist as scenery. They are repositories of past events, bearers of emotional resonance, and guides toward insight. Through repetition, variation, and subtle interaction, these motifs convey the sense that the world itself remembers, responds, and teaches in a language of symbols and sensation rather than words or instruction. Finn's dreams become a form of gentle communion with the world, a nightly exploration of the hidden logic and rhythm that governs both Oo and his inner self. By observing the recurrence and interaction of these motifs, we can begin to appreciate the layered architecture of Finn's subconscious. Dreams are at once personal and universal, intimate and cosmic. Each symbol, each softly glowing object, each ripple of water or flicker of shadow contributes to a tapestry of understanding that unfolds slowly, night by night. Finn learns not through direct instruction, but through observation, reflection, and gentle immersion in the world of symbols that surround him. This ongoing, cumulative experience allows him to navigate both waking and dreaming life with subtlety, patience, and insight, attuning him to the hidden rhythms that flow through Oo and through himself. As this segment comes to a gentle close, we are left with the understanding that Finn's dreams, rich with recurring motifs and soft patterns, are more than mere fantasy. They are a map of feeling, history, and magic, a meditative guide through the hidden landscape of the world and the mind. Each motif serves as a touchstone, a gentle invitation to observe, reflect, and absorb, allowing the dreamer to move slowly, gently, and with quiet awareness through realms both seen and unseen. In this quiet, repeated symbolism, we find the soft heartbeat of Oo, the pulse of memory, and the tender architecture of a young hero's inner life, guiding him and us toward understanding without hurry and reflection without end. The way they act as gentle portals to the past. Unlike ordinary memories that we might recall with the flicker of thought, Finn's dreams do not simply replay events. Instead, they fold time softly around him, allowing him to wander through moments long gone, through echoes of history, and through the faint remnants of lives, both magical and ordinary, that have shaped the world of Oo. The passage is slow, reflective, and calm, inviting observation and absorption rather than urgency or alarm. In many of his dreams, Finn encounters landscapes that are familiar yet transformed by time. A candy-colored meadow may now carry the ruins of a forgotten castle, or a soft river might trace a path over a battlefield that no longer exists. These temporal layers coexist seamlessly, as though the dream has the power to overlay moments from the past onto the present, creating a living collage of memory, history, and imagination. Walking through these spaces, Finn becomes a quiet witness to the flow of time, able to sense events and experiences that he never personally observed, yet somehow knows on an intuitive level. The experience is both humbling and gently enlightening, a meditation on the persistence of life and magic across the centuries. Certain dream sequences highlight personal histories in ways that feel deeply intimate. Finn may encounter echoes of his own childhood, faint images of his parents or guardians, or the lingering presence of figures like Simon Petrikov before he became the Ice King. These moments are never abrupt or confrontational. Instead, they unfold softly, with light, sound, and subtle motion guiding the experience. He may see Simon in quiet reflection, Marceline as a child playing beneath the shadow of tall buildings, or even a fleeting glimpse of the larger events that shaped Ooh. Each vision is a tender whisper from the past, allowing Finn to sense continuity, causality, and emotional resonance without needing to force understanding. In this way, the dream acts as a gentle bridge between the self and history, revealing the deep roots from which his present emerges. Dreams also allow Finn to access histories that extend beyond his personal experience, revealing the broader world of Uru and its hidden legacies. He might wander through kingdoms that existed long before his birth, observe magical beings who shaped the land in quiet, unseen ways, or glimpse civilizations that flourished and faded in relative silence. The landscapes carry traces of these past lives, faint magical residue in the air, subtle echoes in the flow of rivers or whispers carried by the wind. These elements are not presented as lessons or stories in a conventional sense. They are invitations to notice, to feel, and to understand that the world around him is layered, each present moment resting upon the foundation of countless unseen events. The past, in dreams, is never a burden. It is a gentle presence that deepens his awareness and softens his perception of the living world. Objects and relics often serve as focal points in these dream portals to history. A sword half buried in a meadow, a glowing locket resting atop a stone, or a slowly crumbling tower may appear again and again, linking multiple dream sequences across nights. These objects act as anchors, connecting Finn to specific events, emotions, or figures in the past. Touching a softly glowing sword may evoke a faint echo of a battle long ended, while a locket might stir feelings of protection, loss, or remembrance. Through these objects, the dream constructs a tactile, sensory experience of history that transcends the limitations of ordinary memory, allowing Finn to engage with the past as if it were a living, breathing space in which he can move gently and reflectively. A particularly striking feature of these dream portals is the way temporal layers are often overlaid with magical or symbolic distortion. Time in dreams is elastic. A scene that represents a moment centuries past may shimmer with colors that do not exist in waking reality, and figures from history may appear slightly altered, soft-edged, or luminous, reflecting their resonance rather than their precise form. This subtle distortion encourages observation over judgment, reflection over analysis. Finn is invited to notice the emotional and magical imprint of the past, rather than the literal details, learning to sense how history, memory, and magic intertwine across the world of O. Recurring figures from history often reappear with this soft luminescence, appearing at the edges of the dream, sometimes observing, sometimes interacting, but never intruding forcefully. Simon Petrikov, in particular, appears frequently, not always as the tragic Ice King, but as a caretaker, a scholar, and a gentle presence who offers quiet context to the events that shape the world. Young Marceline may appear amidst ruins that hint at larger histories, her small presence a reminder of continuity and resilience. Even the background figures, inhabitants of ancient kingdoms, forgotten adventurers, and magical beings, exude a calm significance, softly emphasizing that the past is not inert, but alive in its subtle influence on the present. In many of Finn's dreams, the past does not simply exist as a static memory. It flows, overlaps, and responds, creating spaces that feel simultaneously familiar and otherworldly. A ruined castle may rise gently from the mist, yet within its walls, echoes of music, conversation, and laughter from centuries past linger softly, like a song carried by the wind. Trees, mountains, and rivers may shift in color and form, as if remembering events long forgotten, or reflecting emotions tied to those moments. Finn's presence within these spaces is quiet and unhurried, his movements gentle as he navigates both the visible and the subtle, absorbing the history that permeates every stone, leaf, and ripple of water. Time itself in these dream portals feels layered, not linear. Past, present, and sometimes hints of the future overlap in delicate harmony. Finn may walk along a meadow he recognizes from waking life, only to discover remnants of a battle that occurred decades before. In another instance, he may cross paths with a younger version of a familiar figure, or see a place as it once was, colored by experiences that predate his own life. These encounters are never jarring. They flow like soft currents, inviting him to witness rather than act, to reflect rather than alter. The elasticity of time in dreams emphasizes observation and introspection, encouraging Finn to develop a nuanced understanding of cause, effect, and the lingering echoes of emotion and magic. Objects in these dreams often act as bridges to the past. A sword, glimmering faintly beneath the moon, may recall battles fought by heroes long gone. A locket or ring may evoke a sense of connection, loss, or protection, binding the dreamer to emotional moments that ripple across time. Even ruins themselves, when touched or explored, carry traces of magic and memory, resonating softly under Finn's fingertips. These objects serve not only as anchors, but as subtle teachers, demonstrating the continuity of experience and the layered nature of the world. They quietly suggest that history, though often unseen, is present, influencing and shaping the life of the dreamer in ways both tangible and intangible. Certain figures from Oo's history appear repeatedly, though always slightly altered by dream logic. Simon Petrikov, for instance, appears not only as the Ice King, burdened by sorrow and madness, but also as the quiet scholar and caretaker of young Marceline. These appearances are calm, reflective, and soft, allowing Finn to sense the deeper currents of compassion, responsibility, and loss that have shaped the world around him. Young Marceline may wander through ruins, laugh softly, or pause beneath a glowing tree, a reminder of resilience and continuity. Even figures who seem minor in waking life can carry profound significance within these dream sequences, quietly highlighting connections, emotional resonance, or lessons embedded within history. Natural features in these dream portals, rivers, lakes, forests, and skies, often act as temporal mirrors. A river might reflect not only the stars above, but also events that once occurred along its banks. Trees may shimmer faintly, echoing laughter or whispers from the past. Clouds may drift in unusual patterns, hinting at histories both joyous and sorrowful. These landscapes are alive, resonating with memory and magic, shaping themselves in response to Finn's awareness and movement. They remind the dreamer that the world of ooh itself is not inert. It carries the weight and beauty of countless lived experiences, patiently awaiting discovery in the quiet of night. Even sounds carry temporal resonance, echoes of conversations, distant laughter, or faint songs drift across fields and rivers, layering the sensory experience of the past over the present dreamscape. These auditory cues are subtle, often overlapping with wind, water, or the gentle rustle of leaves, creating an immersive, multi-sensory experience. They guide Finn's attention softly, highlighting connections between moments, feelings, and places, without ever demanding understanding. The rhythm of these recurring sounds contributes to the meditative quality of the dream, encouraging the dreamer to move gently, observe fully, and absorb insight slowly. Perhaps most quietly profound is the interplay between memory, magic, and emotion. Finn's dreams do not simply recreate the past. They weave together the physical remnants of history, the subtle presence of magic, and the emotional imprint of events. This layered weaving creates a form of quiet education, a gentle exploration of ooh's hidden metaphysics, where history is not fixed but living, breathing, and infused with the energies of emotion and magic. Finn, in his wandering, becomes both observer and participant, sensing the subtle interplay of forces that shape his world and learning, without urgency, the soft lessons that history and dreams have to offer. One of the most compelling aspects of these dream portals is how Finn is often allowed to witness events that predate even his earliest memories. In some dreams, he moves through scenes of the Great Mushroom War, though softened by distance and dreamlike abstraction, or glimpses the rise of kingdoms long since crumbled. These glimpses are not overwhelming or frightening. They are filtered through the tender lens of sleep, encouraging contemplation rather than action. In watching these events unfold, Finn experiences a sense of connection to a continuum, a quiet understanding that the world he inhabits is part of something much larger, composed of choices, conflicts, triumphs, and losses that ripple across time. The gentle elasticity of time in these dreams also allows moments from different eras to converge within a single scene. Finn may see a young Simon Petrikov teaching Marceline, while faint echoes of future tragedy linger like shadows along the walls. He may wander through a candy kingdom where past rulers' decisions still ripple across the landscape, subtly shaping the lives of those who follow. These layers do not compete for attention. They coexist harmoniously, creating a soft, immersive experience in which the dreamer can sense the consequences of history, the persistence of magic, and the enduring presence of emotion. The dream, in this way, becomes a map, not only of places, but of experience, memory, and the invisible threads that bind past and present together. Recurring objects in these temporal dreamscapes carry particularly potent resonance. A sword resting against a fallen tree may hum faintly with the memory of a hero's courage. A locket lying in soft moss may radiate the warmth of protection and care. Even fragments of ruined stones or scattered artifacts may vibrate subtly, reflecting the energy of those who once touched them. These items do not demand recognition. They simply exist, and in their quiet presence, they teach the dreamer to notice, to feel, and to understand without words. In this way, Finn's dreams offer an experiential history lesson, one in which perception, empathy, and awareness are the guides. Figures who reappear across different dream portals often carry complex layers of symbolism. Simon Petrikov's presence in multiple sequences emphasizes not only his personal narrative, but also the broader consequences of the magical forces that shape ooh. Young Marceline's laughter and curiosity echo across dreams, reminding Finn of resilience, innocence, and the ways in which the past informs the present. Even distant, seemingly minor characters contribute subtle insights, their quiet actions or expressions linking moments, events, and emotions across time. In the softness of sleep, these figures serve as companions, witnesses, and gentle guides, ensuring that Finn experiences history as something living and interactive, rather than distant or abstract. Natural elements continue to reinforce the temporal and metaphysical resonance of these dreams. Rivers may carry reflections of past events, glowing faintly with the energy of memory. Forests may shift subtly to reveal layers of time, with fallen leaves hinting at centuries of growth and decay. Mountains may shimmer with the echoes of ancient magic, while the skies ripple softly, reflecting events long past in their clouds and starlight. Each natural feature becomes a living repository of history, a soft guide that encourages Finn to observe carefully, to sense meaning, and to recognize the quiet persistence of the past within the present moment. Auditory motifs remain particularly powerful in linking Finn to history. The distant echo of a song may carry a message from generations long gone. Soft whispers in a ruined hall may suggest conversations that once shaped kingdoms. Even the faint rustle of leaves or the gentle lapping of water can evoke memory, emotion, and magical resonance simultaneously. These sounds are subtle, layered, and immersive, creating a quiet symphony of temporal connection that reinforces the dream's function as a portal. Finn, in listening, begins to understand the world not only through sight, but through sensation, emotion, and resonance. Perhaps the most profound aspect of these portals is their gentle teaching of empathy and connection. By observing moments from the past, Finn is invited to feel the emotions of those who came before him, to sense their hopes, fears, and joys, and to recognize the threads that link all living beings across the time. The dreams do not lecture, they whisper. They do not demand understanding, they encourage perception. Each encounter, each softly glowing object, each ripple of water, and each shift of light serves as a reminder that the past is not inert, but alive, present in subtle ways that shape the now and guide the dreamer's consciousness. Through these experiences, we begin to see that Finn's dreams function as more than personal reflection. They are living archives of repositories of history, emotion, and magic that can only be accessed in the softness of sleep. They reveal the invisible architecture of the world, allowing the dreamer to sense continuity, causality, and the hidden metaphysical forces that ripple beneath the surface of waking life. The portals to the past are not linear or rigid. They are fluid, layered, and richly textured, offering insight, reflection, and quiet understanding to those willing to move gently through them. As we linger in these dream portals, we begin to see a pattern in the way Finn experiences history. It is never imposed, never overwhelming, but gently suggested through presence, sensation, and subtle resonance. Each ruined castle, softly glowing river, drifting object, or ethereal figure serves as a quiet guide, showing him not only what has happened, but how it feels, how it lingers, and how it shapes the living world around him. This subtlety is crucial, for it mirrors the way memory and history often work in waking life. They are present in soft, often unnoticed ways, shaping perception, emotion, and understanding without making themselves fully known. In dreams, this quiet teaching is amplified, allowing Finn to walk through layers of the past with patience, reflection, and awareness. There is a profound tenderness in the way these temporal layers are presented. Finn often observes moments that are both joyous and sorrowful, yet never without calm mediation. A child laughing in a long-gone kingdom, the quiet study of Simon Petrikov before tragedy, or a battle fought and ended centuries ago. All of these scenes carry emotional weight, but they are presented without urgency, alarm, or fear. Instead, they are held in the soft light of memory, framed by the gentle logic of dreams, allowing Finn to witness and feel without being pressured to intervene. These experiences cultivate understanding, empathy, and reflection, teaching him that history is a living, breathing presence, and that the past and present coexist in the quiet folds of perception. Objects within these dream portals often act as tangible echoes of the past. A sword embedded in a stone may hum faintly with the courage and decisions of a long-departed hero. A locket may glow softly with protection, care, or loss, binding emotion and memory in one delicate presence. Even fragments of ruined stones or scattered debris may carry subtle traces of magic and feeling. These objects do not demand recognition. They simply exist, and in their presence, Finn learns the quiet art of observation, of gentle awareness, and of understanding history through sensation, intuition, and emotional resonance. Objects are bridges, linking him not only to people and events, but to the underlying currents of magic and memory that flow throughout Ooh. Recurring figures continue to reinforce this sense of temporal connection. Simon Petrikov, in particular, appears in multiple forms across dreams, sometimes as the compassionate caretaker, sometimes as the Ice King burdened by tragedy. Young Marceline, wandering through ruins or laughing beneath a glowing tree, reminds him of continuity, resilience, and the enduring presence of life and spirit. Even minor figures from history may leave traces of influence, emphasizing that every life, action, and emotion contributes to the fabric of the world. These appearances teach Finn gently that the past is not a distant or separate realm, but a living, integrated part of his experience, shaping perception, emotion, and understanding across time. Natural features remain crucial guides in these temporal explorations. Rivers, lakes, forests, and mountains act as carriers of memory, emotion, and magical resonance. A river may reflect events that occurred along its banks. A forest may shimmer with the echoes of past laughter, and mountains may radiate the presences of magic long since woven into the land. The skies, too, shift and ripple, reflecting events or feelings from centuries past. These natural elements are not simply scenery. They are active participants in the dream, offering insight and reflection through their form, movement, and subtle resonance. By engaging with them, Finn learns to perceive the continuity of life and the hidden interactions that connect moments, beings, and experiences across time. Auditory motifs, soft songs, whispers, rustling leaves, gentle water, tie these dream portals together, linking disparate events and figures across temporal layers. They encourage Finn to sense connections rather than rely on explicit narrative. Through these recurring sounds, he learns to attune his awareness to the subtleties of the past, perceiving not just events, but their emotional and magical imprints. The repetition and layering of these auditory cues reinforce the meditative quality of the dream, fostering reflection, empathy, and calm observation. In the final analysis, Finn's dreams as portals to the past reveal Ooh as a world where memory, magic, emotion, and history are intimately intertwined. Each dream teaches patience, awareness, and empathy. The past is never imposed. It is gently present, layered, and alive. Finn is not a passive observer, but a participant in the quiet flow of continuity, learning through immersion, reflection, and subtle interaction. These dream portals do not simply show what has been. They illuminate how the past persists in the present, how magic and emotion shape the ongoing story of the world, and how understanding emerges slowly, gently, and with care. Through ruins, rivers, glowing objects, soft figures, and shifting skies, Finn moves through history with quiet curiosity and tender awareness. The lessons of time, memory, and magic are never shouted, never rushed. Instead, they unfold in layers, soft and reflective, guiding him and us toward a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things in U. These dreams teach that the past is not merely something to remember. It is something to feel, to perceive, and to carry forward with gentle consciousness, a luminous thread weaving through the fabric of both sleep and waking life. The soft threshold, where the waking world and the dreamscape meet, where colors, sounds, and emotions from one seep gently into the other. It is a space that is neither fully imagined nor fully tangible, a twilight zone of consciousness where the rules of logic relax and the whispers of magic and memory mingle freely. In this space, Finn begins to sense that his dreams are not separate from his waking life, but intimately woven into the threads of U itself. In many sequences, the liminal space manifests as landscapes that blend elements from both the dream world and waking reality. A familiar tree may rise against a sky filled with shifting auroras. A hill may stretch into impossible angles while still bearing the moss and flowers of the real world. Rivers may shimmer with reflection, carrying both the stars of the night and the soft glimmer of daylight memories. These spaces feel fluid, unbound by conventional physics or temporal linearity. Walking through them, Finn experiences a gentle overlap where reality softens and dream logic guides perception. There is no rush, no jolt of surprise, only a meditative unfolding, a slow awareness that the world is richer, stranger, and more interconnected than it might appear during waking hours. Objects and figures often behave differently in these liminal spaces. A sword he carries in waking life may glow faintly, suggesting latent history, magic, or emotional resonance. Companions such as Jake may move in exaggerated forms, yet their gestures remain familiar, echoing both playfulness and guidance. Even seemingly mundane objects, rocks, leaves, lanterns, can become conduits holding traces of memory, magic, or symbolic meaning. The liminal space allows these elements to interact in ways impossible in ordinary perception, blurring the boundary between what is real and what is felt, between what is known and what is intuited. Sound plays a vital role in this in-between. Faint echoes from the waking world, the rustle of wind through leaves, distant water, or the creak of a familiar door, merge seamlessly with dream sounds, soft whispers, faint songs, or melodic echoes from long-past events. This blending of auditory layers creates a gentle rhythm that guides Finn's awareness, subtly teaching him to distinguish, observe, and feel rather than simply analyze. The liminal space is quiet yet alive, a place where attention itself becomes a form of navigation. Emotion also shifts in these spaces, moving with the ebb and flow of perception. Curiosity, wonder, and calm coexist with fleeting traces of fear, longing, or remembrance. These emotions are never overwhelming. They are soft, reflective, and meditative. They ripple gently, allowing Finn to engage with both dream and reality without urgency. In this sense, the liminal space is a teacher, demonstrating that perception is not always linear or absolute. Sometimes understanding arises slowly, in layers, and through gentle interaction with overlapping currents of feeling and imagery. The liminal space also highlights the subtle connections between Finn's inner life and the external world. Dreams may introduce elements from waking experiences, a conversation overheard, a path walked, a moment of beauty or sorrow, and weave them seamlessly into the dreamscape. Likewise, Lessons or realizations from dreams may leave a quiet imprint in waking thought, altering perception, memory, or emotional awareness. The two realms are not separate, but coexisting, each informing the other through a slow, reciprocal rhythm. This interplay suggests that ooh itself is alive with subtle currents, that both time and space are layered, and that the dream world is not an escape, but a parallel lens for perceiving deeper truths about life and experience. Figures encountered in these liminal spaces often embody dualities, existing as both dream and reality simultaneously. Simon Petrikov may appear not only as a historical figure, but also as a presence that gently influences Finn's waking empathy. Marceline may drift in and out of memory, feeling both childlike and timeless, playful and wise. Even abstract figures, animals, glowing creatures, or symbolic shapes interact in ways that hint at both magical laws and emotional truths. They are guides through the threshold, gently demonstrating that the boundary between real and imagined is porous, and that insight often emerges in these quiet, interstitial spaces. Within this liminal space, Finn often encounters sequences that are simultaneously familiar and impossibly strange. A meadow he knows from waking life may stretch into impossible proportions, bathed in colors that shimmer between night and day. Mountains may float softly above rivers, and clouds may ripple as if carrying unseen messages. These landscapes do not frighten him. They invite quiet exploration. He moves slowly, observing the interplay of elements, noticing how familiar shapes acquire new resonance when touched by the logic of dreams. In this gentle expansion of perception, Finn begins to sense that the world of ooh is not confined to the solidity of waking hours, but flows in subtle, layered dimensions accessible only in sleep. Objects encountered in these thresholds often carry layered meaning, blending history, emotion, and magical energy. A sword may vibrate faintly with the courage of its past wielders. A book may glow softly with forgotten knowledge, or a simple leaf may shimmer with traces of memory. These objects act as anchors and guides, allowing Finn to navigate the in-between spaces without urgency or confusion. They are not demanding. They simply exist, offering quiet prompts for reflection, awareness, and intuition. By observing them, Finn is learning a subtle lesson, that the boundaries between physical reality and symbolic resonance are porous, and that perception itself can be a form of gentle navigation through time, memory, and emotion. The creatures that appear in these sequences often serve as mediators between worlds. Jake, shifting fluidly between forms, is a constant companion, playful yet deeply attentive, bridging the gap between the tangible and the ethereal. Other beings, glowing foxes, drifting birds, or semi-transparent figures, act as guides or gentle reminders, encouraging Finn to notice patterns, relationships, or hidden truths. They are neither threatening nor forceful. Instead, they embody the calm authority of insight that arises naturally when one moves slowly and observes carefully. In this way, the liminal space becomes a classroom without walls, where learning occurs through experience, sensation, and quiet attention. Sound in these spaces is particularly layered, blending echoes from waking life with the subtle currents of dreams. The rustle of leaves may carry a memory from earlier in the day, or the distant splash of water may resonate with events from past adventures. Whispers, songs, or faint magical hums drift through the air, overlaying layers of meaning without ever overwhelming the senses. These auditory elements reinforce the sense that the dream world is alive, responsive, and connected to the broader currents of ooh. They guide Finn's attention gently, helping him discern the interplay between past, present, and imagined possibilities. Emotional tone is also carefully modulated in these liminal sequences. Curiosity, wonder, and calm dominate, often accompanied by fleeting traces of nostalgia, longing, or quiet melancholy. These feelings are soft, flowing, and reflective, encouraging Finn to engage with both memory and imagination with patience and gentleness. The liminal space becomes a mirror for inner reflection, a place where the dreamer can explore the subtleties of feeling without judgment and observe the intricate connections between the self and the external world. One of the most remarkable aspects of these threshold spaces is the way time itself bends and folds. Moments from Finn's past, present, and imagined future may overlap seamlessly, creating composite experiences that are simultaneously instructive and meditative. A conversation he once overheard might blend with a current event, or an ancient ruin may shimmer with traces of a story that will unfold only in later dreams. These folds of time are never chaotic. They are gentle, subtle, and deliberate, allowing the dreamer to sense continuity, consequence, and resonance without the weight of linear expectation. The liminal space also emphasizes the interconnectedness of all elements in ooh. Trees, rivers, mountains, and skies act not only as scenery, but as active participants in this threshold realm. Each natural element carries memory, emotion, and magical trace, responding subtly to Finn's presence and attention. Stars may align to suggest guidance, rivers may shimmer with the echoes of past journeys, and forests may rustle softly with the whisper of forgotten conversations. These subtle interactions underscore the notion that the dream world is not separate from waking life. It is a parallel plane that allows perception to expand and understanding to unfold through the gentle, attentive observation. In many of these liminal sequences, Finn experiences moments that feel like walking through memory and imagination at once. A simple path through a forest may twist unexpectedly, leading him past ruins he has seen in waking life or across rivers that shimmer with recollections of past adventures. Colors shift softly, blending day and night, while familiar sounds, rustling leaves, distant laughter, the gentle splash of water, interweave with faint, dream-born melodies. The effect is subtle, like stepping between layers of a painting that moves when observed, revealing histories, emotions, and magic simultaneously. In these moments, Finn senses that reality is not rigid, but fluid, shaped by memory, perception, and the lingering presence of events both recent and ancient. Objects, as in earlier dream layers, act as bridges between worlds. A sword leaning against a moss-covered rock may hum faintly with courage long ago displayed. A locket may glow softly, resonating with care and protection, and even seemingly mundane items, leaves, stones, lanterns, can carry the weight of memory and magic. These objects invite observation rather than action, allowing Finn to feel history, magic, and emotion as tangible currents flowing through the world around him. In doing so, they teach him patience, awareness, and the quiet art of perceiving meaning without imposing force or urgency. Creatures inhabiting these threshold spaces often take on qualities of both dream and reality. Jake, morphing fluidly yet recognizably, remains a guiding presence, playful yet perceptive, helping Finn navigate without overt instruction. Other beings, softly glowing foxes, semi-transparent birds, or ephemeral figures, act as subtle guides, drawing attention to layers of history, emotional resonance, or magical presence. They are never intrusive. Their quiet guidance reinforces the meditative, reflective nature of the liminal space, teaching Finn to notice, to follow intuition, and to move gently through spaces that exist simultaneously in waking and dreaming consciousness. Sound remains an essential thread linking these liminal layers. The gentle rustle of leaves may carry echoes of past conversations. A river may ripple with memories of battles or journeys, and distant melodies may remind Finn of fleeting joys or quiet sorrows. These auditory cues do not overwhelm. Instead, they merge seamlessly with the environment, creating a soft rhythm that guides awareness, encourages reflection, and reinforces the interconnectedness of time, memory, and magic. Each sound is a subtle reminder that the dream world, though ethereal, is deeply connected to both emotion and history, offering insight that cannot be accessed through sight alone. Emotional resonance is delicately layered in these spaces. Curiosity, wonder, and calm predominate, mingling with soft traces of longing, nostalgia, or gentle melancholy. These emotions flow through Finn without demanding action or resolution. They encourage a reflective state, fostering empathy and awareness, and allowing the dreamer to explore the interplay between self, memory, and the subtle energies of ooh. In this way, the liminal space becomes a quiet laboratory for understanding. Observation replaces reaction, feeling becomes insight, and presence itself is a form of learning. Time, as experienced in these liminal dreams, is never strictly linear. Moments from past, present, and even potential futures may overlap seamlessly, creating composite experiences that blend memory, imagination, and foresight. A conversation from long ago may echo beside a current event, or an ancient ruin may shimmer with hints of stories yet to unfold. This temporal elasticity is never chaotic. Rather, it allows Finn to perceive the continuity and interconnectedness of experience, to sense causality and resonance across layers of time, and to understand the subtle ways in which magic and memory shape both waking and dreaming life. Natural elements continue to act as living participants in this threshold realm. Rivers, forests, mountains, and skies carry traces of history, emotion, and magic, subtly responding to Finn's presence. Stars may realign to suggest direction. Rivers may reflect echoes of past journeys, and forests may whisper memories of conversations and laughter. Even clouds and weather seem to pulse with temporal resonance, reminding the dreamer that the world of ooh is alive, responsive, and layered with meaning. Through careful attention to these elements, Finn learns that perception, patience, and reflective observation are keys to understanding the hidden currents that flow through both dream and waking reality. At the heart of these liminal experiences is a profound lesson about awareness and integration. The boundary between waking and dreaming is not rigid. It is a porous, gentle threshold where insight, memory, emotion, and magic intermingle. Finn's encounters in these spaces encourage him to develop a heightened sensitivity to the subtle currents of the world, cultivating mindfulness, empathy, and understanding. He learns that dreams are not merely fantasies to be forgotten upon waking, but are active, living experiences that shape perception, influence emotion, and connect the self to the broader rhythms of ooh. As we linger in this liminal space, it becomes clear that Finn's dreams are not merely whimsical adventures or fleeting imaginings. They are subtle corridors where perception, emotion, memory, and magic intertwine. Within these gentle thresholds, the boundaries between what is real and what is dreamed dissolve, revealing ooh as a living, responsive world layered with unseen currents. A stone on a hill may shimmer with echoes of the past. A river may hum softly with the presence of journeys long ended. And even the air itself seems to carry faint traces of experience and memory. Finn moves through these spaces with quiet attentiveness, learning not by force or instruction, but by reflection, observation, and patient immersion in the rhythms of the world around him. Figures that appear in these thresholds often embody duality. Simon Petrikov, appearing both as a scholar and as the Ice King, reminds Finn of the delicate balance between responsibility, care, and the weight of magic and history. Marceline, drifting effortlessly between child and timeless being, evokes continuity, resilience, and the quiet persistence of life even amidst change. Other beings, some partially transparent or glowing softly, offer subtle guidance or reflection, their presence suggesting that insight often comes from gentle observation rather than direct instruction. In this way, the liminal space becomes a quiet classroom, teaching lessons about empathy, understanding, and awareness through immersion rather than explanation. The interplay of light and shadow in these sequences reinforces the meditative quality of the threshold. Soft illumination highlights objects, figures, and landscapes in ways that draw attention without urgency, while shadows provide depth, mystery, and space for reflection. Light reveals, shadow invites consideration. Together they create a rhythm that mirrors the subtle dance between dream and reality, between what is known and what is intuited. Finn learns to navigate not just the physical spaces of Oulu, but the intricate interplay of perception, emotion, and memory that shapes both waking and dreaming experience. Sounds within the liminal space carry equally layered meaning. Whispered echoes, faint songs, rustling leaves, and distant water blend seamlessly with elements from waking life, creating a symphony of temporal and emotional resonance. These auditory layers act as guides, prompting Finn to notice, reflect, and attune his senses to subtle currents of magic, history, and feeling. He learns that perception is not solely visual, that understanding often arises in the quiet recognition of connection, and that attention itself can reveal the hidden architecture of the world. Objects continue to serve as anchors in these in-between spaces. A sword may vibrate faintly with courage from long ago, a locket may glow with protection and care, and even a single stone or leaf can carry traces of emotion, memory, or magic. These objects do not demand action. They offer quiet prompts for reflection, allowing Finn to absorb the continuity and resonance of Oo's history through experience rather than instruction. Each interaction is meditative, teaching that observation and feeling are as powerful as thought in understanding the layers of reality. Time in the liminal space stretches and folds, merging past, present, and subtle hints of the future. Conversation from yesterday may blend with memories of events long past, while glimpses of potential outcomes may shimmer faintly in the periphery. This temporal elasticity is never disorienting. It is deliberate and reflective, emphasizing the continuity of experience and the subtle threads that connect all moments. Finn learns that the flow of time is not rigid, but malleable, and that understanding arises when one moves gently through overlapping currents of history, emotion, and magic. Perhaps most quietly profound is the emotional education these spaces provide. Curiosity, wonder, calm, and gentle melancholy intertwine, creating an environment where the dreamer can explore feelings without urgency or judgment. Finn is encouraged to engage with the world, both dream and waking, with patience and reflection, sensing the invisible connections that bind the living, the magical, and the remembered. In this way, the liminal space functions as a bridge not only between dream and reality, but between self and world, offering lessons in empathy, awareness, and understanding through experience rather than words. Through landscapes that shimmer between possible and real, objects that vibrate with hidden resonance, figures that embody duality and guidance, sounds that layer history and memory, and time that folds and stretches, Finn navigates the threshold between dreaming and waking with gentle attention. These experiences cultivate sensitivity, insight, and mindfulness, demonstrating that Ooh is a world alive not only with magic and adventure, but with quiet, persistent currents of memory, emotion, and metaphysical depth. The liminal space between dream and reality is a soft teacher, offering guidance without force, reflection without pressure, and understanding without haste. In the quiet unfolding of these sequences, we begin to sense that Finn's dreams and the spaces between them and waking life are carefully orchestrated to cultivate perception, empathy, and introspection. They remind us that reality is not rigid, that time is layered, and that magic, memory, and emotion flow quietly through the world. In these gentle, threshold moments, we see that the adventure of sleeping is as profound as waking exploration, and that Ooh, in all its layered depth, offers lessons that extend beyond action or observation, lessons that live in the quiet attention we bring to the subtle currents of life, dream, and everything in between. Finn encounters beings that exist beyond ordinary comprehension, cosmic entities whose presence is felt more than fully understood. These encounters are quiet, reflective, and strangely tender, offering insight. 5. Hey there, sleepyheads. Tonight, we drift even deeper into the vast, quiet spaces of Finn's dream world, to a realm where the familiar folds of Ooh give way to something far older, far more enigmatic. Here in the gentle expanses of sleep, Finn encounters beings that exist beyond ordinary comprehension, cosmic entities whose presence is felt more than fully understood. These encounters are quiet, reflective, and strangely tender, offering insight without urgency, presence without overwhelming force, and a soft illumination of the deeper currents that shape Ooh and all its hidden layers. These cosmic entities are not monstrous or terrifying in the conventional sense. They exist on planes of existence that stretch beyond human, or even Finn's, perspective. Some appear as luminous forms, softly shifting in shape and color, their outlines pulsing with the rhythm of magic itself. Others are partially obscured, glimpsed at the edge of perception, their presence felt in the gentle tug of the air, the faint vibration of the ground, or the shimmering of light across distant landscapes. They are not here to threaten or command. They are guides, witnesses, and keepers of truths that extend across time, space, and the hidden metaphysical architecture of Ooh. In these dreams, Finn often experiences the sensation of being small within vastness. A star may speak in soft pulses of light, carrying wisdom that transcends words. A drifting form, neither animal nor human, may convey understanding through subtle shifts in color, movement, or resonance. These encounters are quiet meditations, not lessons forced upon him, but invitations to observe, feel, and integrate insight gently. The experience emphasizes humility and curiosity, teaching the dreamer that comprehension of the cosmic is not achieved through force, but through attentive presence and reflection. The entities Finn encounters often seem to carry echoes of history, magic, and emotion across Ooh. Their forms may shimmer with traces of past events, movements of kingdoms, or the influence of long-forgotten magical forces. A single pulse of light may recall a battle that shaped the land, or a ripple through the air may echo with laughter or sorrow from ages past. In this way, the dream experience becomes a quiet bridge between the cosmic and the personal, connecting Finn to forces and histories far larger than himself while still maintaining the gentle intimacy of his nocturnal wandering. Objects and landscapes within these encounters often respond subtly to the presence of cosmic entities. Rivers may glow faintly, forests may hum with hidden energy, and mountains may appear to pulse with an inner rhythm. A stone touched by Finn's hand may vibrate with ancient awareness, or a floating artifact may shift gently in alignment with the entity's motion. These interactions are never loud or jarring. They are invitations to notice the interplay of life, magic, and consciousness that stretches across U. By walking slowly, observing gently, and moving with quiet attention, Finn learns to perceive these subtle currents, sensing that the world is far more alive and interconnected than it appears in waking life. Sounds in these sequences carry profound resonance. Low hums, soft whispers, melodic pulses, and echoes of distant events often accompany the appearance of cosmic entities. They are not structured or overtly musical, but rather fluid and meditative, encouraging Finn to listen deeply, to attune his awareness, and to sense patterns rather than enforce understanding. These sounds reinforce the idea that insight into the cosmic arises from subtle observation, reflection, and integration rather than force or speed. They guide him gently through a landscape of perception, emotion, and awareness that expands the boundaries of waking understanding. Emotion in these encounters is calm, reflective, and expansive. Curiosity, wonder, and quiet awe intertwine with subtle traces of melancholy or longing, as if the entities themselves carry the weight of ages and the soft persistence of memory. Finn experiences these feelings without pressure, moving through them gently, learning that engagement with the cosmic is not about mastery, but about presence, attention, and empathy. The dream becomes a vessel through which he senses the interwoven threads of magic, emotion, and history that form the backbone of U and its hidden metaphysics. Figures such as Prismo or distant, abstract beings may appear in these sequences, but often in forms that are softened, symbolic, or partially veiled. Their presence conveys possibility, knowledge, and subtle guidance without dictating action. A luminous shape may nudge Finn toward reflection on his own choices, or a shifting form may hint at connections between past events and current realities. Even when not fully understood, these encounters leave a lingering sense of continuity and interconnection, reminding him that the cosmos is not indifferent but subtly aware, its influence woven into the dream world, the waking world, and the spaces in between. In many of Finn's dreams, these cosmic entities appear not as separate from the world, but as intimately intertwined with the landscapes he moves through. A glowing presence may rise gently above a river, the water reflecting both the entity's light and traces of memories long past. Mountains may pulse softly in response to a distant being's motion, while forests shift subtly, leaves quivering as though carrying the whispers of ancient knowledge. In these sequences, the dream world becomes a stage for a quiet interaction between the personal and the cosmic, where Finn learns to sense not only his own place within UU, but the subtle, persistent currents that flow through time, magic, and consciousness itself. The entities often communicate not through words, but through suggestion, resonance, and the gentle modulation of the environment. A star's light may pulse in patterns that hint at unseen connections or hidden truths. A drifting form may shift color slowly, evoking emotions or memories that have been buried or forgotten. These methods of communication require Finn to slow down, to feel rather than interpret, and to let understanding emerge gradually. In doing so, the dream emphasizes a core principle. The cosmic insight is not forced, but cultivated through presence, reflection, and attentive observation. Sometimes, the entities are entwined with history, carrying echoes of events and choices that have shaped U. A luminous form may shimmer with the energy of battles fought long ago, or a floating, semi-transparent being may hum with memories of ancient civilizations. Through these encounters, Finn becomes aware of the interdependence between personal action, historical consequences, and magical forces. The dream presents history not as a static record, but as a living, breathing force that resonates through space and time, subtly shaping both waking and dreaming experience. Objects in these sequences continue to play a crucial role. A sword resting against a rock may pulse in alignment with an entity's light, hinting at courage and choices that ripple beyond a single moment. A locket or other small artifact may glow softly, vibrating with the emotional resonance of long-past caretakers or companions. Even ruins, faintly illuminated, seem alive with energy, offering Finn subtle prompts to explore, reflect, and integrate knowledge. These interactions reinforce the idea that the cosmic is not separate from the tangible world. Instead, it is woven into objects, landscapes, and memory, accessible through careful observation and gentle engagement. Sound continues to guide these encounters in understated yet profound ways. A low hum may resonate across the forest, echoing the rhythm of magical currents. A distant song may ripple through the air, carrying traces of events that have long since passed, or perhaps yet to come. These auditory elements are never intrusive. They weave through the dream gently, encouraging Finn to tune in to the subtle interplay of magic, memory, and emotion. The integration of sound, light, and environment in these sequences creates a holistic experience where perception itself becomes a medium for connecting with the cosmic. Emotion in these encounters remains soft and reflective, blending wonder, curiosity, and gentle awe with hints of melancholy or longing. Finn is never overwhelmed. Instead, he is invited to feel, to notice, and to engage with the broader currents of existence with patience and openness. These experiences emphasize that connection with the cosmic is not about domination or understanding in a conventional sense, but about awareness, empathy, and the recognition of interconnection. The dream guides him to appreciate the layers of meaning, magic, and consequence that permeate both the dreamscape and the waking world. Figures like Prismo, or more abstract entities, may guide Finn toward reflection on his choices, the flow of time, and the consequences of action. They do not dictate or command. Their presence is a quiet prompt to observe, integrate, and internalize subtle truths. Even when their forms are mysterious, amorphous, or partially veiled, their influence leaves a lasting impression, emphasizing that the cosmic is present in both the dream and waking life, quietly shaping perception, emotion, and understanding. In some of Finn's dreams, the presence of cosmic entities becomes almost architectural, shaping the very space around him. A luminous figure may stretch across the horizon, its form bending the sky, mountains, and rivers into gentle curves that seem impossible, yet entirely natural. These alterations are never jarring. They are subtle, reflective, and meditative, inviting Finn to perceive the world from new angles, to consider the interconnectedness of space, magic, and emotion. Walking through such sequence, he senses that Oo is not merely a land of forests, kingdoms, and rivers, but a living, malleable matrix in which thought, feeling, and magic flow quietly, persistently, and interdependently. Light continues to play a crucial role in these encounters. A cosmic being may emanate soft radiance, which interacts with surrounding objects in ways that are symbolic and instructive. Shadows lengthen and shorten, hues shift imperceptibly, and even the smallest artifact, a sword, a locket, a fallen leaf, seems to respond with subtle vibrations. This light does not demand attention. It invites reflection, encouraging Finn to observe the interplay between illumination and darkness, perception and resonance, presence and memory. It is a quiet lesson in awareness, demonstrating that insight is often found in the gentle noticing of subtle shifts rather than the pursuit of explicit knowledge. These entities often carry the weight of temporality within them. Finn may witness flashes of ancient events reflected in a being's form, hear faint echoes of conversations long ended, or feel the lingering presence of emotions that shaped kingdoms and lives centuries ago. The experience is immersive but not overwhelming. In the softness of sleep, he learns to integrate these impressions gently, understanding that history, magic, and emotion are not separate from the present, but ripple subtly through space, perception, and consciousness. The cosmic presence in dreams becomes a guide through both external and internal landscapes, teaching connection, patience, and quiet comprehension. Objects encountered in these sequences retain layered meaning. A sword may hum with bravery long displayed, a piece of jewelry may glow faintly with protective intent, and even stones or tree branches can carry residual emotion or magical resonance. These objects act as tactile bridges between the dreamer and the cosmic, allowing Finn to perceive history, emotion, and magic through interaction rather than observation alone. They encourage attentiveness and mindfulness, demonstrating that understanding of the cosmos often arises not from intellectual analysis, but from gentle engagement, reflection, and a willingness to perceive the world in all its subtle dimensions. Soundscapes in these dreams are particularly immersive. A low, vibrating hum may accompany the presence of a cosmic entity, blending with echoes of rivers, forests, or ancient songs. A distant melody may carry emotional resonance from centuries past, guiding Finn toward reflection on continuity, cause and effect, and the delicate interplay of life and magic. These auditory cues, soft and layered, encourage him to cultivate deep listening, attuning his awareness to subtleties of resonance that are not immediately visible, but profoundly felt. They reinforce the idea that perception is a holistic experience, integrating sight, sound, emotion, and intuition in a quiet, reflective understanding of ooh and its hidden forces. Emotion in these encounters is gentle yet expansive. Wonder, curiosity, calm, and soft awe intermingle with subtle traces of melancholy or longing, emphasizing that contact with the cosmic is not about triumph or conquest, but about awareness, empathy, and patience. Finn is invited to move slowly, to reflect deeply, and to appreciate the nuanced relationships between beings, places, objects, and events that unfold in both the dreamscape and waking life. The emotional layering teaches him softly that understanding the world and the unseen currents that shape it requires presence, attention, and openness rather than haste or certainty. Recurring cosmic figures sometimes appear across multiple dream sequences, their forms and behaviors hinting at continuity, cycles, and underlying patterns in ooh. A luminous star may pulse in repeated sequences, conveying rhythm, guidance, or the gentle unfolding of cosmic law. An amorphous, shifting entity may appear at critical moments, nudging Finn's attention toward connections between past events and present circumstances. These recurring presences emphasize that the cosmos in ooh is not random or chaotic. It operates with subtle consistency, guiding, influencing, and illuminating without ever imposing. In witnessing these beings, Finn learns that the universe is layered with meaning, and that insight arises through observation, reflection, and patient engagement with its rhythms. As Finn continues to move through these dreams, the presence of cosmic entities begins to feel less like an external phenomenon and more like an integral layer of reality itself. These beings are not separate observers. They are currents within the very fabric of ooh, subtly influencing landscapes, objects, time, and emotion. A glowing figure may ripple through a river, tracing patterns that echo the flow of past events, or hover above mountains, its light softening shadows that have long held memories. In this way, the cosmic is not distant. It is woven into the world, quietly shaping the flow of magic, history, and life itself. Finn senses this not through words, but through perception, feeling, and slow, attentive observation. These encounters are deeply meditative, inviting him to explore not only the external world of O, but also the internal world of thought, emotion, and reflection. A being may shift in color or form in response to his presence, suggesting that perception itself carries weight and resonance. A faint pulse of light may echo a choice he made earlier in life, or the soft vibration of the air may remind him of consequences yet unseen. In this gentle interplay, Finn learns that understanding is not demanded or delivered. It is cultivated through awareness, patience, and engagement with the subtle currents of experience that flow through both dream and waking reality. Objects continue to act as bridges in these encounters, each carrying a quiet, layered resonance. A sword may hum faintly with valor displayed long ago, a locket may glow softly with protective intent, and ruins may shimmer with the memory of events that have shaped kingdoms. These objects do not lecture or command, they invite, suggesting that the cosmos communicates in symbols, sensations, and subtle echoes. Finn learns to navigate this language, understanding that insight often comes from gentle attention, reflection, and the careful observation of patterns in the world around him. The landscapes themselves often bend and shift under the influence of these cosmic presences. Rivers may stretch impossibly, mountains may float gently above valleys, and forests may subtly pulse in rhythm with unseen energies. These alterations are never chaotic or threatening. They are soft, reflective, and meditative, offering Finn new perspectives on the interconnectedness of space, magic, and life. He comes to understand that the world is not rigid, that perception is flexible, and that the boundaries between dream, reality, and cosmic influence are porous and intertwined. Sound remains a powerful conduit for understanding. Low hums, distant melodies, rustling leaves, and echoes of past conversations blend seamlessly with the ambient noise of the dreamscape. These auditory layers create a subtle rhythm, guiding Finn toward reflection, intuition, and quiet comprehension. Through these experiences, he learns that insight is not always visual or logical, but can emerge from careful listening, gentle observation, and attunement to the hidden currents that flow through the world and through time. Emotion in these encounters is expansive yet gentle. Wonder, curiosity, and soft awe intermingle with subtle traces of melancholy, longing, or nostalgia. Finn feels these emotions without urgency or pressure, allowing them to guide reflection rather than action. These sequences teach that contact with the cosmic is not about control or comprehension, but about empathy, presence, and quiet understanding. The entities are not instructors, but companions in meditation, showing the young hero that the universe is alive with subtle resonance, that every choice and emotion leaves an imprint, and that awareness itself is a bridge between self, world, and the cosmic. Recurring cosmic entities appear across multiple dreams, reinforcing continuity and the subtle patterns that underpin the world of O. A luminous star may pulse rhythmically in separate sequences, drawing attention to the slow unfolding of events. An amorphous entity may reappear, nudging Finn's awareness toward connections between past actions and present circumstances. These recurring presences emphasize that the universe in U operates with quiet consistency, guiding rather than forcing, illuminating rather than demanding. Finn learns that the cosmos is a living system of influence and resonance, a network of energy, emotion, and memory that quietly shapes both dream and waking life. By the end of these encounters, a clear lesson emerges. The cosmic is not something to be conquered, understood fully, or feared. It is to be observed, felt, and reflected upon. Finn learns to move through these dream spaces with patience, to notice subtle changes, and to attune to the layers of meaning in objects, landscapes, figures, and sound. These experiences cultivate mindfulness, empathy, and quiet understanding, revealing that OO is alive not only in its physical manifestations, but in the hidden currents of magic, history, and consciousness. In these final sequences, we see that the cosmic entities within Finn's dreams are both teachers and companions, guiding him gently through the subtleties of perception, memory, and emotion. They remind him that the world is layered, interconnected, and alive with quiet forces that shape experience in ways both profound and subtle. By observing, reflecting, and attuning to these currents, Finn learns that insight is cultivated slowly, that the universe communicates in subtle, quiet ways, and that understanding emerges not through force, but through presence, attention, and gentle integration. As we drift into the final stretch of tonight's exploration, we arrive at the gentle, mysterious domain that underpins all of Finn's dreams, the mythology of sleep itself. Sleep in the world of OO is not merely a pause from adventure or a time for rest. It is a living, breathing dimension, woven from the same threads of magic, memory, and cosmic resonance that shape the waking world. In Finn's dreams, we begin to see hints of this deeper structure, a quiet architecture that organizes perception, emotion, and even destiny itself. Sleep in OO is not uniform. It has layers, currents, and rhythms, each carrying subtle lessons and gentle guidance. There are moments of deep rest, where the body and mind recover from the physical and emotional exertions of waking life. Within these moments, the dreamscape is calm, meditative, and reflective, allowing Finn to navigate internal landscapes of memory, emotion, and insight without distraction. The soft undulations of these dreams resemble quiet rivers or gentle winds flowing steadily and invisibly, teaching patience, attention, and subtle awareness. Other layers of sleep are more dynamic, carrying Finn through sequences of heightened imagery, magical resonance, and cosmic interaction. In these states, the dream world becomes expansive, fluid, and deeply interwoven with the metaphysics of OO. Time bends and folds, landscapes shift in impossible ways, and objects, creatures, and figures carry histories, emotions, and energies from both past and present. These layers of sleep are not chaotic. They are purposeful, orchestrated in ways that guide perception, reflection, and understanding, allowing Finn to integrate insights from both personal experience and the broader currents of magic and memory that flow through the land. Within these sequences, recurring themes begin to emerge, suggesting that sleep itself is structured, almost mythological in nature. The moon, stars, and celestial bodies often appear as guardians or markers of temporal flow, guiding the dreamer's passage through layered realities. Rivers, forests, mountains, and ruins pulse with residual energy, creating subtle feedback loops that link perception, emotion, and magic. Even abstract forms, glowing geometric patterns, shifting lights, and ephemeral figures carry encoded patterns of thought, history, and magic that Finn may only slowly perceive and integrate. The dream world, in this sense, acts as a bridge between the tangible and the metaphysical, between the familiar rhythms of waking life and the hidden structures that sustain the world at large. Sleep in OO also appears to have a protective function. Within dreams, Finn encounters sequences that allow him to process complex emotions, fears, and memories in a safe, contained environment. The dream world absorbs intensity without harm, converting experience into subtle guidance. A moment of fear may unfold as a soft lesson. A shadowed path may reveal courage without danger, and a fleeting vision of loss may leave him with empathy and reflection, rather than despair. In this way, sleep functions as both teacher and sanctuary, providing the dreamer with space to integrate the emotional, magical, and historical currents that surround and shape them. Objects and figures within the dream often act as vessels of mythology themselves. A sword may vibrate with the courage of previous heroes. A glowing locket may carry centuries of protective intent. And a drifting, abstract form may encode wisdom, too subtle for direct comprehension. These elements are carefully woven into the architecture of sleep, appearing and disappearing according to rhythms that are both intuitive and orchestrated. Finn's engagement with them is quiet and reflective. He is never forced to understand, but encouraged to notice, feel, and gradually integrate the layered meanings and resonances they carry. Sound continues to play a central role in the mythology of sleep. The faint rustle of leaves, the distant babble of water, melodic hums, and echoes of events long past intertwine with magical vibrations that carry history, emotion, and cosmic resonance. These soundscapes guide perception, encourage reflection, and reinforce the interconnectedness of dream, waking life, and the underlying metaphysical currents of Yo. Finn's dreams are never silent. They are orchestrated with gentle attention, offering cues that invite awareness and integration rather than demand comprehension. Emotion within these layers of sleep is nuanced, flowing like gentle tides. Calm curiosity, wonder, and quiet awe dominate, mingling with subtle traces of nostalgia, longing, or gentle melancholy. These emotional rhythms are meditative, encouraging Finn to engage with his inner life, with memory, and with the subtle threads of magic and history that permeate Oo. Sleep, in this sense, becomes a vessel for cultivating empathy, introspection, and holistic awareness, reminding us that the dreamer's mind is not passive, but an active participant in the unfolding tapestry of life, memory, and magic. As we move deeper into the mythology of sleep, we begin to notice how Finn's dreams act as a mirror, reflecting both the external world of Oo and the internal landscape of his own mind. In sleep, the boundaries between personal experience, history, and cosmic influence are softened. Rivers may carry echoes of battles long past. Forests may shimmer with the presence of friends, both living and departed, and mountains may pulse with the slow rhythm of time itself. These elements are not just scenery. They are active participants in the dream, offering insight, resonance, and subtle guidance that Finn can absorb at his own pace. Within these sequences, recurring motifs appear, as if sleep itself has its own language. Stars may pulse gently, forming constellations that mirror moral choices or lessons he has encountered in waking life. Glowing figures may drift through forests, embodying concepts like courage, empathy, or restraint. Objects, whether a sword leaning against a moss-covered rock, a locket glowing softly in the moonlight, or an abandoned artifact humming with latent magic, act as vessels carrying history, emotion, and instruction. Their presence is never forceful. Instead, they invite contemplation, reflection, and careful observation, teaching that insight emerges gradually when approached with patience and attentiveness. The dream world also illustrates the interconnectedness of all things in Oo. Even the most ordinary features, leaves, stones, rivers, or clouds, carry subtle echoes of memory, magic, and consequence. A single stone may quiver faintly with energy, hinting at the events it has witnessed. A forest may shift gently, rustling in rhythms that suggest invisible communication or unseen presence. These subtle interactions reinforce the idea that sleep is not an escape from reality, but a deeper engagement with it. Finn learns that every detail, every object, and every shift in the environment may carry meaning, encouraging him to cultivate awareness and observation in both dreams and waking life. Time, too, flows differently within these layers of sleep. Moments can stretch or fold. Past experiences may blend seamlessly with imagined futures, and sequences of events may appear out of a linear order. This temporal fluidity allows Finn to process complex experiences, integrate lessons, and reflect on actions and consequences without the constraints of chronological progression. In this way, sleep becomes a safe space for understanding the broader implications of life in U, connecting cause and effect across memory, intuition, and imagination. Sound is equally significant in the mythology of sleep. Subtle hums, distant songs, rustling leaves, flowing water, and faint echoes of dialogue from past events create a rich, immersive auditory tapestry. These sounds are not overwhelming. They are gentle guides, inviting the dreamer to attune their perception and reflect on the connections between action, emotion, and magic. Finn's dreams are orchestrated carefully, with sound acting as both cue and companion, reinforcing the layered experience of sleep while encouraging quiet awareness and reflection. Emotion in these sequences is soft and reflective. Calm curiosity, gentle wonder, and quiet awe intermingle with subtle traces of longing, nostalgia, or melancholy. These emotions are experienced without urgency, allowing Finn to engage fully with the emotional currents of his dreams while absorbing their subtle lessons. The mythology of sleep emphasizes that understanding and growth are cultivated not through force or haste, but through patient reflection and gentle attention to the interconnectedness of memory, magic, and perception. The dream world, in its layered and orchestrated design, functions as both sanctuary and teacher. It provides space for reflection, emotional processing, and intuitive learning. Every landscape, object, and figure Finn encounters is part of a broader network of significance, offering insight into the metaphysical structure of U, the hidden currents of magic, and the subtle interplay between self, world, and time. Sleep is never passive. It is an active, living domain that guides perception, cultivates empathy, and fosters holistic understanding. As we venture further into the mythology of sleep, the patterns within Finn's dreams begin to reveal themselves more clearly, almost like threads in a tapestry, connecting disparate events, emotions, and experiences into a cohesive, gentle flow. Certain locations recur in these dream sequences: hills bathed in soft golden light, forests dappled with phosphorescent leaves, rivers that ripple with both reflection and memory. These spaces are imbued with layers of significance, each element quietly guiding Finn toward reflection, understanding, and awareness. They teach him that sleep is not merely a pause from life, but a continuation of it, unfolding in slower, more meditative rhythms. Figures appearing in these sequences are often symbolic, embodying concepts rather than literal individuals. A glowing fox may represent curiosity, a softly humming tree may embody patience, and an ephemeral figure might reflect the weight of history or memory. These symbolic presences interact with Finn in ways that are never forceful or prescriptive. Instead, they invite contemplation, allowing him to explore abstract ideas and emotional truths in a safe, reflective environment. By engaging with these symbolic entities, Finn learns to navigate complexity with calm awareness, recognizing the layers of meaning present in both his dreams and waking life. Time in the mythology of sleep flows like a gentle tide rather than a rigid, linear path. Past events may bleed softly into present experiences, and imagined futures shimmer at the periphery of perception. A conversation with a friend from years ago may echo beside glimpses of potential outcomes, merging memory, emotion, and foresight into a single, flowing experience. This temporal fluidity allows Finn to process relationships, choices, and consequences in ways that waking life cannot accommodate, providing him with a broader, more integrated understanding of the currents that shape Wu and his own development within it. Objects continue to serve as vessels of significance. A sword may hum faintly with courage exhibited in a forgotten moment. A simple trinket may radiate care or protection from those who once held it. Even mundane items like stones, lanterns, or broken furniture carry subtle resonances of magic, memory, and emotion. Through gentle interaction with these objects, Finn absorbs layers of meaning intuitively, learning that the world is rich with hidden narratives that can be perceived if one moves with attentiveness, patience, and reflection. Sleep thus becomes an active form of engagement, where perception, memory, and intuition work together to reveal depth and resonance in the world around him. Sound within these sequences is carefully orchestrated, forming an auditory landscape that mirrors the layered structure of sleep itself. Faint echoes of long-past conversations may ripple across a forest. The gentle rush of water may carry memories of distant events, while soft melodies may resonate with emotional truths that words cannot convey. These sounds are not distractions. They are invitations to attune attention, fostering a sense of presence and empathy within the dreamer. Finn learns that understanding is not always logical or immediate, but often emerges in quiet observation, reflection, and sensitive engagement with the rhythms of the world. Emotion is a subtle and guiding force throughout these dreams. Calm wonder, curiosity, and gentle awe intermingle with softer traces of longing, melancholy, or nostalgia. Finn experiences these feelings not as burdens, but as tools for reflection and growth. The mythology of sleep emphasizes that emotional engagement is essential to understanding, that insight is cultivated through gentle attention to feeling as much as through observation or thought. In this way, sleep is not passive. It is an active, meditative process that nurtures both emotional intelligence and deeper comprehension of the world. Recurring patterns in Finn's dreams suggest a structured, mythological framework underlying sleep. Certain motifs, sequences, and landscapes appear repeatedly, offering continuity and gentle guidance. A glowing figure may return across multiple dreams, embodying a principle or lesson that unfolds gradually over time. A particular river, forest, or mountain may reappear, subtly shifting its appearance and meaning to reflect Finn's personal growth or evolving awareness. This repetition is not monotonous, it is reflective, providing both comfort and gentle instruction, reminding the dreamer that understanding often develops slowly through observation, reflection, and repeated engagement. Through these layers of experience, sleep emerges as a living dimension, intricately connected to both waking life and the metaphysical currents of Wu. Finn's dreams demonstrate that rest is not merely recuperation, but a subtle form of learning, attunement, and reflection. Sleep carries history, magic, emotion, and intuition, shaping understanding and perception in ways that are profound, quiet, and enduring. In this space, Finn learns that Wu is not only alive in the waking world, but also within the rhythms of rest, memory, and the layered structure of dreams, where every object, sound, and figure contributes to a deeper, more integrated understanding of life, magic, and the self. As Finn drifts further into sleep, the structure of these dream sequences becomes even more apparent. Each sequence, each recurring motif, each subtle shift in light or sound works together to form a quiet, living mythology of rest. Sleep in U is not simply a pause from the adventures of the day. It is a sacred space where the world itself softens and opens, inviting reflection, intuition, and gentle understanding. The dreamer is both observer and participant, moving through landscapes that are alive with memory, magic, and emotion, and learning that insight often emerges not from action, but from quiet attention and patience. In this final layer of sleep, Finn encounters moments where all the currents of previous dreams converge. Rivers may reflect not only the surrounding landscape, but also fragments of past dreams, memories of friends and allies, and faint echoes of cosmic entities he has encountered. Mountains may pulse with both historical resonance and emotional weight, suggesting that every event, choice, and feeling leaves a lasting imprint, subtle yet persistent, on the fabric of U. Forests, ruins, and artifacts shimmer with layers of meaning, waiting to be perceived, felt, and understood. These sequences illustrate that sleep is not passive, but a living process of integration, where history, magic, emotion, and intuition interweave in complex meditative patterns. The recurring figures and entities Finn encounters across dreams take on new significance in this final layer. Glowing figures, amorphous shapes, and ephemeral companions all carry lessons in perception, patience, and empathy. They do not instruct in direct terms. They invite observation and reflection. Each encounter reinforces the gentle, reflective rhythm of sleep, teaching that understanding emerges slowly over time through attentive engagement with the subtle currents that shape both the dream world and waking reality. Finn begins to sense that these figures are not only part of the dream, but part of the very architecture of U, reminders that magic, memory, and emotion are intertwined in ways that extend beyond immediate comprehension. Objects in these dreams continue to act as carriers of resonance and meaning. A sword may hum with bravery, a locket may glow with protective intention, and ruins may ripple with faint traces of past events. Even a stone, a leaf, or a distant hill may vibrate softly with energy and memory. Finn's gentle interaction with these objects teaches a subtle but profound lesson, that the world is alive with layers of significance, and that perception, empathy, and attentiveness are keys to understanding its hidden rhythms. Sleep becomes a form of apprenticeship where the dreamer learns to integrate knowledge, emotion, and insight through experience rather than instruction. Sound, as always, remains a central guide within the mythology of sleep. The faint hum of magic, the distant murmur of rivers, the rustling of unseen leaves, and the delicate resonance of far-off voices all blend together into a meditative auditory landscape. Finn tunes into these layers of sound, noticing subtle shifts, patterns, and echoes. In doing so, he learns to perceive the invisible threads that connect events, emotions, and magical forces across U. This attunement reinforces the idea that sleep is not a passive state, but a dynamic, living dimension where understanding is cultivated through careful, reflective engagement. Emotion in this final layer of sleep is rich, expansive, and gentle. Curiosity, wonder, and quiet awe mingle with nostalgia, longing, and subtle melancholy. These feelings are never overwhelming. Instead, they guide Finn toward introspection and reflection, teaching that emotional awareness is as important to understanding the world as observation or thought. The dream gently encourages him to integrate these feelings into his perception of U, fostering empathy, patience, and holistic insight. Sleep, in this sense, is both sanctuary and teacher, offering a space for quiet growth and subtle illumination. In the culmination of these sequences, we begin to see that the mythology of sleep in U is layered, purposeful, and profoundly interconnected with both waking life and the broader metaphysical structure of the world. Every landscape, object, figure, and sound carries meaning, forming a gentle, reflective network of insight that teaches perception, empathy, and awareness. Finn's dreams are carefully orchestrated, not through force, but through soft suggestion, subtle resonance, and patient unfolding. They remind us that rest is not merely recuperation, but a living dialogue with memory, magic, emotion, and time. As the final sequences of sleep fade into calm quiet, the lessons become clear. Sleep in U is a sacred, living dimension, a place where the dreamer can explore, reflect, and integrate without pressure or urgency. It teaches that the world is alive with hidden currents, the perception is layered, and that magic, memory, and emotion flow together in patterns that are subtle, persistent, and endlessly fascinating. Finn emerges from these dreams not just rested, but quietly attuned, more aware of the threads that weave together life, adventure, and the unseen architecture of U itself. And so as we settle into the final calm of this tale, we can feel the quiet pulse of sleep echoing through every dream, every memory, and every whisper of magic in U. Rest, reflection, and gentle awareness are not just part of Finn's journey. They are part of the very fabric of the world itself, waiting quietly for those who slow down, notice, and listen. Good night,